Michael, our main character, seems injured and is contemplating how he could have done things differently in his life, and how every little different decision he could have made before may have changed his life. He is in a bizarre situation, as he just lays there while telling a story about how he had a crush on a redhead girl in high school and decided to be naughty with her by playing with handcuffs in his bed. He recalls how he was starting to romance her, but then his parents and sister suddenly came home and caught him. He narrates how after getting caught, they ask him to go downstairs, and he is already expecting to get reprimanded, but his parents just hand him $10 and ask him to take his girl out for some burger, which felt strange even for him. We see someone's hand trying to search for his pulse. It seems that he has been in an accident and is currently on the verge of life and demise. Then, the scenery changes, and he is now in front of Scarlett, a white-haired lady, asking him what happened. The dark surroundings are replaced with bright walls. He seems disoriented as the lady asks him to recall exactly how he passed away, and then the scene flashes to an airport. He is running with her girlfriend Amy to the boarding gate, trying to catch the flight for their trip, but the staff just informs them that their flight is delayed. Amy is disappointed and decides they should get a drink. While waiting for their flight, Amy is crying and telling him she cannot go on with their relationship anymore. Michael tries to talk to Amy, but the airport announcements are so loud it's distracting him and drowning his words. He tells her to just see how she feels when she gets to their destination. Amy is still very emotional, and he implies that it's because she had too much to drink. This comment irks Amy, and her feelings worsen even more. She asks him if he doesn't have anything else to say to him. He answers how it's funny that if their flight is not delayed, she probably would not be bringing up a breakup. He contemplates how 1 hour of delay could make such a big difference in his life. Amy is decided, and she picks up her things while still crying, and then walks away. In the next scene, Michael is driving back home after missing his flight. He is talking to a friend over his earphones, telling him about the breakup. He is approaching the toll gates when he realizes that he doesn't have any quarters to pay for the toll. He tries to get off the next exit to stop by an ATM but misses the ramp. He decides to back up in the middle of the highway, which his friend thinks is not a good idea. While backing up, he sees a quarter on his car's floor, and as soon as he looks up, a truck runs straight in his direction. That is the last thing he remembers. However, Scarlett is still encouraging him to try to remember. He says that the next thing he remembers is being in that place already. He looks around and asks if he is in a hospital or a rehab, but the lady says it's none of those places. Seeing as he is still not getting where he is, she bluntly tells him that he has passed away and that she is there to help him as there are still some loose ends he has to settle. He cannot believe what she just said, insisting he is alive, and he has to go to the one-man show that he has been preparing for the last 2 years. Michael is an actor, and this show is very important to him. The lady tells him again that he is in the afterlife, but he still has one important thing unfinished, his soulmate. She explains that since he passed away as a single man, that left his soul incomplete. And it's a serious problem as souls can only cross over in pairs, so he has to find his soulmate. She even tells him that soulmates are the purpose or the meaning of life. She even tells him it doesn't matter if it's a girl or a guy, as long as it's someone who feels right for him, and they have to feel the same way too. She points him to the door behind him to start finding his soulmate. She tells him that he can go anywhere he wants to, see anything he wants to, and be his truest self. No one in the living world will be able to see him once he goes through that door. He steps out, and the next thing he knows, he is back to the living world. Shadows, seemingly of living people, walk past him. He starts exploring and walks into a bar. He sees some people who seem to be ignoring him. He guesses that they are also ghosts like him, waiting for their soulmates. Surprisingly, he can still drink alcohol, so he decides to down as much as he can, while still trying to bother his fellow ghosts. He sees a big guy at the corner and approaches, but he just angers the guy, who doesn't want to talk to him. It looks like in this world, all the living people appear as shadow figures to him, while he can see ghosts like him like normal people. He goes to talk to ghosts on the street, but everyone ignores him no matter how hard he tries. He runs into a guy who finally talks to him. It seems that he has the same dilemma. Michael complains about how hard it is to find someone when he cannot even see people most of the time. The guy just advises him that he has to try squinting and he will see. He tries his advice and it works. He continues to keep walking and going to places, looking for his soulmate. He wonders where he would go if he were the girl of his dreams. He steps into a shop and tries to talk to a lady who is not even sparing him a look, just telling him she is waiting for someone else. He is a persistent guy, so the lady gives up and talks to him. She asks him how he passed away, and he tells her he got hit by a truck. She seems sarcastic when she tells him she perished while mountain climbing. She tells him some pieces of advice about their current world, saying he can't just hook up there, and that finding someone is not as simple as he thinks. It seems that the lady has been there long enough to know. She advises him that every material thing that he might have possessed in the living world is not substantial there anymore, so he has to find the person he didn't find in life to spend eternity with. Or he can just pour himself a long drink and wait it out. She asks him what he would offer a girl like her if he had a chance. He answers something dirty, which makes the lady chuckle, and then he also says that on bad nights he can make her laugh. She seems to be ready to leave, but he tries to make a bet with her by flipping a coin. Heads, she will stay and have some more drink with her, and if it's tails, he will leave her alone. The lady doesn't accept his bet, and before leaving, she even tells him that it's going to be tails anyway. Funny, because earlier he was trying to flip his coin, but all he was getting was heads. He goes on his quest to find his soulmate and keeps walking around again. At the square, he sees huge billboard screens, but with nothing to show, as all screens in his world are blank. He is looking around when he almost bumps into a lady. He is about to just go on walking, but as if he is just realizing something, he turns around and tries to look for the lady, but she is no longer to be found. He goes to his home and tries his best to squint to be able to see his family, and thankfully it works. He sees them packing his things. They are bickering about whether to keep his clothes or not, even criticizing his choice of clothes. His sister decides to get the things in his drawers, and he gets alarmed by this, as if hiding something he doesn't want his sister to see. As soon as she opens one drawer, his sister instantly regrets it. His sister asks his parents if they were ever disappointed in him and whatever he did. Michael's dad answers that he wasn't a bit disappointed, as he was who he was, and he always stayed true to himself. He didn't care if Michael was successful or not, but only hoped he was happy. His mom even adds that he wanted Michael to be an actor, which Michael became. She thinks it wasn't fair for Michael to go just like that. Before they get too emotional, Michael's dad tells them they need to hurry up with packing as it doesn't get any easier for them if they wait. He also tells them they should say their goodbyes there, as that place is the last place where Michael lived. He feels that Michael is still there and can still feel him. Only if he knew that his son was watching them right at that moment. Michael says goodbye to his dad. However, his mom refuses to say goodbye, as if in denial that his son has already passed. They start moving the boxes, and Michael watches them until they leave. He continues walking and decides to see his friend Angelo, and surprisingly, he can see him. It turns out that Angelo is also a ghost already, who passed as a single man, so he is looking for his soulmate too. They both complain about their current situation, where all their greatest pleasures have been taken away from them, and they don't have any way out but to find their soulmates. Michael asks him why he is not out there looking, seeing as it's already very hard to find a soulmate, even after his endless exploring. He explains that during his first days, he worked really hard and did everything he could to find his soulmate, but to no avail. They cannot move forward unless they meet their real soulmates. No one can fake it. He tried and tried every day until he realized it was impossible. He just spends his days now being a peeping Tom to living people who are doing intimate things, and sometimes just walking and reading. He asks Angelo where he could go if he wants to try his luck in finding his soulmate. He tells Michael that there is one place he knows, but it's not easy. The next second, he sees him holding a coin and seems to be surprised at this. Michael tells him that he brought it with him from when he was still living. Angelo shares that he had not been able to bring anything with him when he passed away, and that he could not carry around anything else aside from books or alcohol. Michael just tells him it's probably because he was holding it when he passed. He goes to the place Angelo suggested, and there he meets several women to try his luck with them, although his dates are not going so well. After trying, he goes back to sit beside Angelo and complains about how hard it is to try dating. He asks him why he is not trying to talk to the ladies there himself, but Angelo just says he has already been turned down so many times he doesn't see the point in trying anymore. Michael goes for a second try and approaches a serious-looking lady, but she instantly shuts him down. He tells her they have a lot of time to get to know each other, which she quickly refutes. He tells Michael to look around and see that if they have unlimited time to stay there, how come there are no people from the older generations there, like Civil War veterans? It is indeed an eye-opening realization. She is right. Their time there is not unlimited, and just like when they were still living, they don't know when their time ends. This makes Michael panic. He goes back to the place where the door he stepped out from was, and starts calling for Scarlett. She appears right in front of him, and he starts ranting to her about not even telling him there is a due date for his mission to find a soulmate. She questions Michael, asking if she had told him about the due date. Would he have done things differently? And he immediately says yes. That's exactly why Scarlett did not tell him, so he could focus on searching and not the due date. He asks her what will happen if he doesn't find a soulmate. She tells him nothing happens. He will just cease to exist, and the world goes on. Scarlett tells him that this is his second chance, and he is complaining about it. Michael sees no point in what he is doing, but Scarlett tells him that the point is to meet someone who sparks something within him. She emphasizes again that only paired souls progress, and that love will allow him to spend forever with someone. So it's either he falls in love, or becomes nothing. He senses that he is already getting on Scarlett's nerves and defends himself, saying he just has too many questions about everything. Scarlett then asks him who he used to ask his questions when he was still alive. The next second, he goes to his talent manager who is speaking on the phone with someone. It seems that he is selling his one-man show to someone else, seeing as Michael is already gone. Then he hears him telling his secretary to put Amy on the line with him. It seems that his manager is seeing his ex-girlfriend Amy now. Michael finds Angelo, who is in a locker room full of women, enjoying being a peeping Tom. He is asking Angelo about the rules, asking what they can and cannot do in this world, and how long can they exist. He gets distracted by the women in the locker, and understands why Angelo likes hanging out there. While enjoying the sights before them, Angelo says he is not even sure if he wants to pass on or go to the other side, but Michael wants to try anyway. He walks around again and tries to toss his coin to decide. Heads for the east, tails for the west, but yet again, it always shows heads. He decides to spin around with his eyes closed instead, and goes in the direction he is facing once he stops. He walks into a bar and surprisingly, he sees the woman he bumped into previously. She looks at him, but he sees that she is not a ghost. The lady speaks to him. Michael is surprised to find out that she can see him and talk to him. She asks him what he is looking for, and he says he is looking to meet a girl. She says everyone around cannot see him, but she can, which amazes him even more. She comments that he has that faraway look in his eyes. He sits beside her and wonders how she knows he is deceased and sees him. She just says that she is very intuitive. She reveals that she has been seeing ghosts a lot lately. She asks why he is there, and he explains that he perished alone. He in turn asks her why she is alone, and she explains that it's because her friend is late again and will probably cancel on her. Michael gets amazed every second of talking to her. He comments that they are probably not soulmates, or else they would be passing on to the other side by now already. She agrees, and says it's because she is alive, and he is a ghost. Michael gets distracted by a guy sitting at the bar who suddenly disappears. The guy's time has come, and he is still alone, meaning he will cease to exist. He still has a lot of questions for the lady about why she can see him and talk to him. She shares that even though she has been seeing a lot of ghosts lately, this is the first time she is having a conversation with one. He also could not believe that she is single, and she just says that maybe it's because she is picky too, like Michael, and that she is picky because she is looking for something magical. She also shares that it's because she is being stalked by her former boss, Patrick, who she went out to dinner with just once. Bringing up her stalker makes her very nervous, so they change the topic of their conversation. He finally introduces himself, and she also introduces herself as Honeybee. What a cute and weird name that Michael thinks she is not being serious, but it turns out she is. They are really having a nice time together, and she tells him that her friend has just canceled on her, so she asks him if he wants to get out of there. Our dear Michael is getting asked out. They start walking around together, still enjoying their conversations, getting to know each other's likes and dislikes. They talk about their favorite artists and music. Then, she asks him how it feels like being a ghost. He tells her that he doesn't feel anything at all physically. He likens it to being outside a giant restaurant window and watching everybody else eat. He tells her he used to feel so much when he was still living, but now he only ever feels drunk. He also confesses that he feels something for her. She smiles at this confession. She asks him what he would like to feel the most if he could feel anything again. He tells her that it's that tingling feeling when someone you love is thinking about you from far away. They continue walking, and they are about to cross the street when a bike comes rushing and almost hits Honeybee. Michael, out of reflex, tries to grab her hand, but it just goes through her. She is taking him to her apartment, but when they arrive there, her stalker is waiting for her, and she starts feeling uncomfortable again. He keeps blocking her way, and Michael is feeling so furious, seeing how much he is bothering her but cannot do anything about it. Michael tells Honeybee to yell at him to leave her alone, and she tries, but it does not sound like a yell at all, so she tries again, and it sounds stronger this time. However, her stalker is a tough nut to crack and refuses to leave, but she just keeps telling him to leave her alone. The stalker starts shouting at her and getting aggressive, even telling her that whoever she is seeing is going to leave her. Honeybee just goes on to open her door and proceeds to her apartment, still shaking from what happened. She seems like a really strong girl, but what happened obviously affected her a lot. Michael asks her if she is sure that she actually wants him to leave her alone. Honeybee could not seem to believe this question. He even comments that maybe she just doesn't want to hurt his feelings, that's why she turned her stalker away. She immediately catches on and realizes that Michael is feeling jealous. He apologizes to her for what he said. She opens 2 bottles of beer, but does not give Michael one. Instead, she drinks from both bottles as if provoking him. Then, she leads him to her room where they just lay facing each other. She says she would love to make dinner for him, and he says he would love to eat if he could. There they are, just quietly talking to each other. In normal circumstances, 2 people attracted to each other would already be very physically intimate at this moment, but considering their situation, they could do nothing but look into each other's eyes, and it says it all for them. They are close, but unable to touch, unable to feel each other's warmth. But their feelings are overflowing, and it's as if they are making love with their eyes. She confesses that she is happy with him. Michael has fallen for her, but he tells her that he is the worst possible guy she could bet her life on, as he is a ghost. They continue exploring and talking some more, as if they don't want their time together to ever end. Once Honeybee is asleep, he goes back to Angelo's place to get some advice. He tells her about him meeting Honeybee, and he really feels she is the one. He expresses how beautiful and amazing she is, and he doesn't know why he hasn't been whisked up in the sky yet, even though they seem to feel the same for each other. Angelo bluntly tells him it's because not true love, at least for one of them. He looks outside and sees another ghost just suddenly disappearing, and it drives him scared again. He really wants to be in eternity with the one he loves. The next day, he goes to meet Honeybee, and she introduces him to her friend, Faith, as if introducing your ghost boyfriend to your best friend is the most normal thing to do. At the restaurant, he also sees his former manager meeting with the guy who he is selling his one-man show to. He keeps trying to shout at the guy, and it seems to affect him as he keeps touching his ear. After being satisfied, he goes back to Honeybee and he sees her fading in and out. She goes to the bathroom and calls out Scarlett, who shows up immediately. She asks her what it means when someone alive is fading in and out, and she tells him that it means she is about to pass away soon. Thinking about it, it might be good for Michael, as they can finally be together as ghosts. But the thought of her being gone too soon just saddens him. He thinks Honeybee is still too young and has so much left to enjoy in her life. Scarlett comments that maybe she is supposed to follow Michael to the other side. Worried, he follows Patrick around, thinking he would do something to her. He comes up to an apartment and knocks on a door. A woman answers, who instantly gets scared upon seeing him. Then, the next second, he shoots her and just walks away like nothing happened. Michael is trying to follow him but loses sight of him. He runs back to Honeybee's apartment, and Angelo spots him. He looks very happy while telling Michael that he finally met someone, when he is not even looking. She just came into his life, and he instantly felt something between them. Michael is happy for his friend, but he is distressed and is about to go, but Angelo stops him. He tries telling Michael that love is real after all, and he is finally experiencing it. He tells him that he is about to meet her again tonight, and nothing is happening yet, but surely, soon he and his love will be able to cross over. However, Angelo starts fading out right before his eyes, until he is no longer there. Third terrifies Michael, as he realizes that time is ticking, and anytime he could fade out too. He hurries and keeps running, but stops in the middle of the road trying to figure out what to do. He tries to flip his coin to help with his decision, but his coin goes through his hand this time. He hurries to Honeybee's place and tells her she has to go and get out of town, as her life is in danger. She is puzzled about what is going on, and why he is telling her to go and leave everything behind her, but Michael is not telling her the reasons. He finally makes her pack her bag and assures her that she has to go soon, and that she can go anywhere away from this town. He also promises her that he will find her, but her life is more important than everything else right now. He wants to protect her, even if it means he cannot be with her for eternity. Patrick is preparing to go to Honeybee and is having a pep talk in front of the mirror. He mutters how much he loves her and keeps saying that the end has come. It looks like danger is lurking around the corner. Meanwhile, Honeybee comes back to her apartment to get something, and then heads out right away, but cannot find a cab. She calls her friend to tell her she is going out of town following Michael's advice, but she is still against her dating someone other people cannot even see. Michael is running frantically while calling out to Scarlett. She shows up not to help him, but to tell him he cannot change destiny. The destiny that wants to bring him and Honeybee together in the afterlife. But this destiny is not what Michael wants if it costs Honeybee to lose her life. Unfortunately, Patrick spots Honeybee and follows her. Michael finds her first in the train station and asks her to not leave. She is now very confused as he's the one who is pushing her to go. He tells her he wants to say goodbye. In an unexpected moment, he grabs her hand and finds out that he can hold her. The moment their hands touch, he tells her he loves her, and that she is the only thing he has to lose. If saving her now means he will lose her forever, that's fine with him as long as she gets to live. They lean in and kiss each other, able to feel each other this time. The moment their lips parted, Patrick shows up and tells Honeybee he loves her. Then, he points his gun at her. Scarlett shows up and tells Michael to let her go, but Michael doesn't want to. He tells Honeybee to run now. However, she says that she wants to stay with him. A stranger tries to snatch Patrick's gun away. However, this does not stop him. He runs towards Honeybee and jumps on the trail with her while the train is fast approaching. The next scene shows Michael back in Scarlett's office. She tells him that if both he and Honeybee had felt complete love, they would not be sitting in her office right now. He tells her that the rules are wrong because clearly she was ready to give up her life just to be with him, and he does not get why that is not enough. He desperately begs Scarlett to let him see her one last time. Scarlett leads him to a room where Honeybee is, and they finally see each other again, ready to go to the afterlife together. The next second, they fade out while in each other's arms. Two souls becoming one, passing over to eternity to be together forever.